So yes, they got the Senate. We knew it was going to be a tough year. And yes, we lost the White House. But you know what? A mandate is over 50%, and he didn't get a mandate. And I think they're all living in this fantasy
He won
land of
all
what they're
seven
going to
battleground
do.
states,
Excuse
all
me?
seven. It
Excuse me?
wasn't even close.
Excuse me?
Susan, can I just start by asking you, if I may, are you as worried about the first 100 days of the Trump White House as the Democrat campaign would have us believe in the run-up to the election in November?
Oh, well, Theo, thank you for having me today, and I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'm concerned. I'm still celebrating the holidays, trying to get through to trying to celebrate something for the new year. If we're watching what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are doing right now, it's kind of a scary game of Monopoly. Elon Musk is trying to acquire different properties and different things he wants to do to increase his stock and his billionaire. And Donald Trump is trying to do all he can to buy Canada, Greenland, Denmark, and Panama. So I think we're heading into again, another disruptive Trump term. I only hope that things calm down and we don't do government by tweet as has occurred in the last 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency.
Amanda Mackie, do you think that it is going to be chaotic, or do you think that Donald Trump will learn from the mistakes of his first term and actually be able to navigate the White House and everything to do with an administration much better second time round?
Well, of course, when you have experience doing it once before, you don't make any of those same mistakes. And I wouldn't even say there were mistakes. I would just say that Donald Trump is who he is, and he's going to do what he wants to do to ensure that the mandate that he has, the overwhelming support that he has from the American people who elected him to do the job, and it wasn't close. He believes that he has that strong mandate. He wants to put his best people in key positions. He wants those key positions, those key heads to be confirmed by the Senate. That's a lot of work. There's a lot of legwork that goes through the confirmation process to get these people in those spots. And then there are over 4,000 jobs that have to be filled in this administration. So that's something that he and his staff have to do and have to see to fruition. Now, the other things that he's talking about right now and the ideas that he has, he's putting out there what he believes is in the best strategic interest of the United States. So if China is going to be at our doorstep where Greenland is basically next to North America, he's trying to do what is best strategically for us. So I have to take issue with what Susan says and how she calls it buying up things. Yes, it's the Alaska was part of Seward's Folly. Remember that? That was purchased. No one's asking why Alaska was purchased now for $7 million. But the point, though, is that President Trump is trying to be strategic. That's what he believes is in the best interests of the United States. Of course, it's going to be healthy to have disagreement, but he's the president and he's going to move forward how he sees best to protect Americans, to protect the American workers, and to ensure that he makes America great. And that's always been his slogan.
In Europe, people are worried particularly around tariffs that are going to be introduced and wondering how those tariffs will particularly hit European companies that want to export into the United States. Do you think that businesses in Europe, indeed businesses here in the UK, should be concerned, Amanda Mackie?
Well, of course. I mean, anytime you have a change in someone who, like President Trump, has made it very clear what his intentions are, I do believe that other countries are going to be worried about that. Just, in the last week, we've had, somewhat of a little duel between, Panama, the president of Panama, and President Trump. And so, these things are natural to happen. The tariffs are something that President Trump has said he would do. But again, these are the things that he campaigned on and won. So, his interest is not Europe. His interest is the American people and protecting the American worker.
Susan Platt, do you think there are American voters out there, I suppose they would have voted Democrats, who worry about the perception the world has of America under Donald Trump? That, as Amanda was saying, Donald Trump is going to take an America first strategy. He doesn't mind He's not concerned about who he upsets. But there will be voters out there who look on in horror at what Trump does and think that actually he should be trying to build bridges rather than burn them.
Well, I think it's not an America first strategy. It's a Donald Trump first strategy.
How do you mean?
They talk. It's a Donald Trump first.
But what makes you say that? Sorry.
Because it's whatever suits him at the moment. If I were Susie Wiles, who I understand is a fairly bright woman, I would sit down Donald Trump and his team and say, okay, let's put this vision board. At the end of the new year, people do these vision boards. Let's put up what it is you want to do and let's try to stick to that. Whatever whim he gets, whether it's buying Greenland or Denmark or Panama, he's going to do it. I think they talk about a mandate. Donald Trump did not win 50% of the vote, and Donald Trump lost seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. So yes, they got the Senate. We knew it was going to be a tough year. And yes, we lost the White House. But you know what? A mandate is over 50%, and he didn't get a mandate. And I think they're all living in this fantasy land.
He won all 7 battleground states. All 7. It wasn't even close.
Excuse me?
He won all 7 battleground states. It wasn't even close.
I didn't interrupt you. You don't have to interrupt me unless you feel you have to interrupt me.
It just seemed like a good segue to mention it. That's all.
Let's do Susan. You just finish your point, and then I'll bring in Amanda Mackey.
No, I think I think this is typical. This is what happens when we all start talking the truth. They have to interrupt, talk in different hyperbole and different segues in tweet points, and that's what Donald Trump and President-elect Musk are doing right now because that's how they roll. They roll government by fantasy and by tweet.
But isn't Amanda's point a fair one, that you are complaining about the rules of the game? Everybody knew the rules of the game beforehand.
I'm not complaining about the rules of the game.
It's the electoral college that matters, and Trump won the electoral college.
Well, that's not what she said. She said they won a mandate.
Well, they won 7. They did win the 7 votes.
Over 50%. And you know what? The House of Representatives is very close. They can't get their act together to even really pass a budget. They have Elon Musk has to tell them what to do, not even Donald Trump. This is just child's play, and it's people's lives we're dealing with, not only in the United States, but across the world. Those Canadians, those people who live in Denmark and Greenland. This is real life, not Monopoly.
Do you think, sorry, Susan, do you think there will be Americans who are so concerned, worried, angry about the way Donald Trump is running the White House that they'll emigrate?
I'm not angry about it. I'm nervous about it.
Nervous? Okay, nervous. You can choose your adjectives. Do you think there are Americans who are so nervous about the way that Trump is going to run America that they'll emigrate?
I think there probably are a few people, but that's a pretty drastic thing to do. I'm an American. We're all Americans. We have to work to make this a better country for everyone and not just the billionaires of this world.
Amanda Mackey, do you want to come back on the points? Because I know you were trying to get in there earlier.
Well, again, I mean, you actually made the points very well. The rules of the game were not to win the popular vote. If they were, you would campaign differently, right? But the rules of the game were to win 7 battleground states and as many of them as you can. She didn't win any. He won all of them. And so when you look at the way that people have responded to President Trump and what he offered voters, he won. He won, and he believes, and most Americans believe, Susan may not, but that he has a mandate to do what he intends to do. To Susan's point, however, Susan's a very bright woman. She knows that he can't just do everything without Congress. And Congress is very tight on the House side with the number of Republicans. A lot have been plucked away for key positions. So they've had to
and a lot of them lost.
Those Republicans. And then in the Senate, it's a tight Congress right now for Republicans, despite the fact that they control it. And then you have members like Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and some of the others that, they don't always go the way that their party wants. Even Mitch McConnell may not go the way the Republican Party wants with some of the nominees and with some of the positions that President Trump takes. So it's not going to be that President Trump can do everything that he wants to do, But if he believes that with winning 7 of those states, winning in a mandate and winning in a landslide, that he has an agenda that
Oh,
he
now it's
has
a
set
landslide.
out, then he needs to implement that. That's what people supported. That's who won. They rejected Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and they said they want President Trump and his vision. And he's going to do as much as he can with a controlled Congress by Republicans, though by a slim majority.